everybody! Are you prepping for the ACT soon and wondering how you can utilize the next 6 weeks or so to get the most awesome score possible? If so, in this video, I'm going to give you my 6-week study plan for the ACT test. My name is Brooke. I've been teaching the ACT for over a decade and a half. I've coached a couple of students to perfect scores on the test. We have a couple of students who've also scored perfectly that have used our online course that's available at SupertutorTV.com. We also have 2 books for the ACT math section, the best ACT math books ever. You can check those out on Amazon.com. And if you want something totally free, join our mailing list, SupertutorTV.com/subscribe. You can join us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and of course right here on YouTube. Click subscribe and you can join us every week. We have the best subscribers in the whole multiverse. You know who you are, overachievers. That's right, that's you. The other thing that I'm gonna add, if you're like, Brooke, I really want this written out. I don't know if I want this in video form. Well, you're in luck. You can head to our website and there's a link in the description to the blog that goes with this video, and that's gonna list out all of the steps that I talk about. This is based, by the way, on the pacing guide that I have as part of our online course. So if you're on our online course, you're welcome to watch the video where I'm going to talk you through what you're going to be doing for the next 6 weeks, but I definitely recommend that rather than just look at the blog post, you do check out the study guide that comes with our course. But you can still watch this video for fun and see what all the steps are going to be. Whether you have a course or you don't have a course, there's a lot of things that you can do that I do as a private tutor that can help you prepare for the test. So let's get into what those secrets are. First, you should budget approximately 4 to 8 hours of work time a week. Make sure you've got that time set aside so that you can get through everything. Okay, so let's talk about week 1. In the first week, I usually recommend that people watch some general overview kind of YouTube videos to get your brain in the space of the ACT. So you understand how the test works so that you don't waste time approaching it the wrong way and then having to take a whole other practice test. So I recommend that you watch our #1 secret tip series that's here on YouTube. You can also watch our ACT self-study video to give you a feeling for the principles of self-study and what you need to be thinking about as you go through this process. The next thing that you should do the first week is take a diagnostic test. I would recommend you can take test 72C pre, or you can take test 74F. Those are free ones that are circulating around the internet available from ACT. You can find links to them on our website, SupertutorTV.com/resources. We've got those tests and a couple other tests as well that have been released for free by ACT over the years. If you're an international student, you can also take a digital test, and we'll link out to the digital test there as well. After you've taken that practice test, you should score it. And then let's talk about week 2. In week 2, you should review your test and start diagnosing your weaknesses so that you can make a targeted plan for practice. You're going to go over all the questions that you missed on the practice test and any questions that you've starred as challenging or difficult or took you too long. In the English and math sections, the questions tend to be very content-oriented. That means if you got something wrong, a lot of the time it's because you didn't know some piece of information you needed to know to get it right. For example, in math, you might miss an exponents question, and that might be because you kind of forgot some of those exponent rules that you learned back in algebra class. If that's the case, then you need to write down exponents on your list of things to do. And then it is your job to uncover every stone of exponent knowledge that you can so that you can ace your exponent questions on the ACT. Cool? That's what's going to come next. But first, just make that list, right? Exponents. What are you missing in the English? Commas. Main idea questions, right? Write everything down. And then you've got somewhere to start. For the reading and science, they're a little bit more strategy-oriented versus content-oriented. So you're not going to be able to just learn comma rules and get everything right. You've got to figure out why you're struggling. Are you struggling because your timing is off? Is it that you need better strategies? Is it that you aren't going back to the passage because you feel like you're running out of time, and so then you're guessing all the time? If you're guessing, you can't guess, you guys. You have to go back to the passage. And hopefully you've learned that because you already watched my #1 secret tip. In terms of the essay, you can review ACT sample essays, and you can compare your essay to the example essays and then figure out what are you missing, what do you need to work on. We also have some videos on the essay here on our YouTube channel, and you can watch those as well. Next, you should review some tip videos on our YouTube channel that apply to you. So if you're struggling in one section more than another, you might check out some general strategies, some hacks for the math section, all those good kind of little strategies and tip videos. Those are something you can watch this week on our YouTube. This week, as you can see, is probably one of the most time-consuming weeks because we're getting oriented and we're getting everything done. The next thing that I want you to do is work on the content of math and English. To do this properly, you need to get some resources. What are resources? Well, it could be our online course. We got worksheets on there. It could be our ACT math books that you can get on Amazon. It could be some other math book. It could be an English book that you find that's written by an independent tutor on Amazon. But whatever it is, you're going to use that tool to then address all the things that you're getting wrong, okay? For reading and science, I generally recommend that you practice some portions of tests. We have a few linked out on our website, supertutortv.com/resources. If you need a few PDFs of old ACTs, you can find some there. So print those out and practice those passages. Practice them untimed at this point, because the other thing that I want you to learn to do on the science and reading is to stop guessing. The biggest mistake that a lot of students that I see have, especially students that are scoring below a 25, for example, is that they are just flat out guessing a lot of the time. They don't go back to the passage. They think it's a closed book test. It's not closed book, it's open book, guys. It means you got to go back. And to do that, sometimes you got to slow down the first few times. So it's okay to slow down right now. You're at the beginning of your prep. You're only in week 2. So give yourself a little extra time, whatever you need to get stuff right. But the first step to getting stuff right is getting it right, no matter how long it takes. Then speed up, right? It's like practicing piano. You do it slowly until you learn the pattern, and then you go really fast. Rachmaninoff. It's good stuff. Okay, week 3, here we go. So now program your calculator and figure out what kind of calculator programs you can use on the ACT. Then I want you guys to take another practice test. If you have the official ACT guide, you can do it in there. If you have no access to that, again, you can go to our website, our resources page, and download one. For the English section, time it. Most people don't have trouble with the English section in terms of time. Keep track of how long the science and reading sections you take you, but you don't have to necessarily time those yet if you still feel like you're not getting enough right. I'd rather have you slow down this week, get a ton of them right, and then learn how to speed up, right? But you really want to get that feeling of like, what does it feel like to find the evidence, know you're right, and put it down? That's what the ACT is all about. You have to find the evidence, know that you're right, and then put the answer. That's the feeling I want you guys to have. So slow down if you need to. For the math section, you can time yourself, but complete the exam even if you don't finish after time is called. So then what I like to do is I draw a line on my math test, and then I keep doing all the problems, but at least you can grade it up to that line, and then whatever those problems are at the end, you know whether you know how to do them or not, so you can still identify areas of weakness. And then you're going to calculate a couple of scores, your timed score, your untimed score, depending on what happened after time was called, and be aware of your pace so you can start to speed up after this week, okay? Then you're going to review your test. If you have access to video explanations, you can use those. If you don't have that, then you can review it on your own. If you have the official guide, it has some explanations in text format in the back of the book, so you can use that as well. And then you're going to analyze everything that you missed after you go over this test. And again, make another to-do list. Oh, this time I missed matrix algebra. Oh, darn it, I need to work on that. So make your list. So now we're going to go to week 4. I call this pacing week. So you did some stuff slowly a couple weeks ago. Now it's time to speed up and figure out your pacing. If you don't have a watch, you should get a watch that's test approved. I like analog watches. I go into all that stuff too in our like what to bring to the ACT video if you really want to get into my watch theory. Next up, you're going to take another practice test. Have you noticed a variation on a theme? I.e., take lots of practice tests to prep for the ACT? It makes sense, right? So you're going to take another practice test. But this time, you're going to use your watch. You're going to time the English section, but you can do the science and reading with some extra time if pacing is still an issue, but at least keep track of that extra time now. How much are you doing? Try to push yourself to work faster than previously. So come up with a pacing strategy for each section and figure that out. We also have, I think, a couple of videos on our YouTube about timing. If that is something that you struggle with, you can also Google it, how to, time yourself on the ACT. Go research that. Make this your timing week. Focus on that idea, whether you have a book that's going to talk about it or whatever resources you have. There's always Google, right? You've got YouTube. There's things that you can look up, okay? Do the essay if you've signed up for it. Star everything you're unsure about as you go. Grade it. Review everything. Update your personal study list. Again, what did I get wrong? Why did I get it wrong? What are the things I need to work on? So you're just going to keep doing more of the same this week. But this week, try to work on pacing and speed yourself up a little bit. Week 5, it is now time to start to buck up and work on your essay if you haven't worked on it much. I know you've written a couple practice essays as you go. You maybe read some practice essays during week 2. So now is the time to really work on your essay. Practice doing a couple of essays grade yourself and try to revise and perfect your skills. Next up, you're going to take another practice test. Surprise, surprise. It is time to start timing yourself and being strict about it. You only got 2 weeks left. Time to stop giving yourself extra time and just making the most of what you have. That means you might have to start invoking more timing strategies, like dropping questions if you're not able to finish on time. If so, figure out strategically which ones are the best to drop. In the math, that might be the ones at the end because they're harder. Or it might be word problems because you take forever on word problems. In the science section, it might be the last question in every section, which sometimes takes a little bit more synthesis. But figure out your strategy. Get ready for this test because you're going to have to do it full speed this week and next week. Try to mimic your real testing conditions as much as possible. We have an ACT testing timer that you can check out so that you can practice to time. And so you should check that out on our YouTube channel as well. Print out your bubble sheet. Make sure you use a bubble sheet. Use your number 2 pencil, not the mechanical one. Practice as close to testing conditions as possible. If you're taking it during COVID-19, wear a mask, right? I know it's annoying, but you should be practicing with all the things that are going to go on test day and try to make this as real as possible. You only got 2 weeks left, people. Then you're going to review that test. Try to learn from all your mistakes. Again, why did I get things wrong? How do I get them right? You can also do what I call a cold review, which means you mark all the ones that you got wrong, but then print out a fresh version of the test. And then as you see which ones you got wrong, do that question again, slower, and see if you can get it right the second time without knowing what you put. And that's a way you can test yourself and see if you're getting better and see if you focus a little bit more, can you get it right? So that's another technique you can use. But figure out what you're missing, why you're getting it wrong, and then do some research with whatever resources you have to figure out how to get it right and learn what you need to learn and do worksheets or drills to drill it down for yourself, okay? And finally, week 6, you're going to do what I call the big review. So save all your practice tests, everything that you've done. And what I like to do the week before the test is get out all my old tests and go over things that I missed and review with myself, why did I miss these? And look for patterns. What are the kinds of questions that I consistently miss? How do I get it right the next time? Review all of those and learn from them. Learn from your mistakes. Review all the ideas that you were having trouble with, matrix algebra, whatever it is, whatever's tricky, and make sure that you're ready. Also review your essays, watch any last essay videos or read any last blogs that you haven't done yet. And then finally, any last content areas that you need to work on them. That means if you're in our math books, if you're in an English book, whatever it is, make sure that you're doing that practice. And then for science and reading, if you're still struggling in those, try to do some more timed drills. Really important that you hit the pacing when it comes to science and reading. And one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they go in for test day is their pacing is off. So make sure you're ready on pacing on science and reading. I think those are the toughest pacing-wise. Math can be tough too, but it's often related to content. When you're slow, it's because you don't know your rules fast enough and you just need to practice more so you can be faster. But with science and reading, a lot of the time it's like, you've just got to be disciplined. And then it is time for you to go in and crush the ACT. Let us know how you do after your test. I wish you guys the best of luck. I hope you guys like this video. If so, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet, because as you can see, if you're spending the next 6 weeks prepping for the ACT, we could probably help you guys out. Your hard work will pay off, and I am here to tell you, if you made it to the end of this video, pat yourself on the back because it means you're doing something for your education and for your future. And I am proud of you, and you are awesome. Good luck, you guys. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.